Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make popcorn. Now if you're thinking, what? Anybody can make popcorn, you're right. But I'm going to show you how to make the world's best popcorn, and that's an entirely different matter. The world's best popcorn has to be big, has to be fluffy, and definitely not greasy. And, this is the key, it has to be spiced just right. Okay, so I start with an 8-quart saucepan, and ideally you want a clear lid because it's pretty handy later on when stuff gets rolling. The next thing you want to do, you want to use peanut oil. Or you can use corn oil, but do not under any conditions use vegetable oil because not only will your popcorn, your kitchen, everything will be fishy tasting. And the reason is that can't stand high heat. So you got to use one of those two, or possibly even grapeseed oil. But anyway, corn oil, peanut oil, that's what you want to use. And you want to put in exactly 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to put that in, I'm going to get going on that, and I'm going to start heating it up. And the idea is that you want this super hot. Now, I'm going to turn my stove on high, and you're going to find that this oil, it's actually going to expand as it gets hot. So when it gets hot, and we want to see some smoke happening, when we see that, we're going to throw our popcorn in, and away we go. But while we're waiting for that to get to temperature, I just want to show you butter. When you look at a chunk of butter like this, you'll see that it has actually some measurements on here. So what I'm going to use, like that's quarter right there. I'm going to use 1/8 of a cup, which is about 1/2 inch. Okay, so as you can see, that's what it looks like. I pre-cut it because, as I say, once we get rolling, there's no stopping. You may not be able to see it, but it is starting to smoke. And I like to see a fair bit of smoke because you want really good, really high heat. I have exactly 3/4 of a cup of popcorn, and I'm going to throw that in. And you want to give it a really good swirl. And I forgot something, of course. Oven mitts, definitely going to need these. So what you want to do is you want to give it a really good hard shake and then just let it sit. So you want all those kernels to be evenly hot if you can, so that they all kind of pop very quickly. And it's just going to make for really fluffy popcorn. That's why I want the heat so high, is because that's what gives us all those really big fluffy kernels. And away we go. These kernels are huge, as you're going to see when I pull them out. And that's all because, you really want that super high heat. So once you're about, maybe halfway up, give it a shake again. And it kind of sounds like, the popcorn sounds almost like maracas. That's the unpopped stuff. And you want them, when you don't hear that anymore, then you know, obviously, that you're done. But you want to keep shaking it periodically. You want to get those, obviously, down to the bottom of the bowl so they pop. Here's something else I want you to see. This is the key thing. Watch this. When I do this, look at all that water coming off. So that's what, you don't obviously want that in your popcorn, so when it's near the top, do that. Drain it all off. And, I think we're just about there. Now, you know how I said earlier I had a bowl and paper towel? Well, this is where you're going to use it. So you're going to use this paper towel to scrape out, there's some burnt husks, some, a little bit of popcorn down here. The reason I'm doing this, 2 things actually, but the first one is it's obviously nice to get your pot nice and clean while it's hot, but I want this super hot pot to put the butter in. Now there's my 1/8 of a cup of butter. Throw it in. And we're going to melt it, and then we're going to go a little step further and we're going to brown it. Okay, so you can see, now I've had this on not too long, it's just enough to melt it, and you can see now that color is perfect. It's a caramel color. It's perfectly brown. This butter it doesn't taste like regular butter. It is nutty. It's got a rich flavor to it. It's sweet. It's just amazing. Okay, so now that you've got your butter nice and brown, first thing we do, we got to put some salt on. And if you've never had pepper on popcorn before, try it. It's pretty amazing. So put your salt and your pepper on. We're going to do this in a couple of steps, so you don't put it all on once. Okay, so now you take your brown butter and spoon it on. And then you got to toss it so everything works itself down, and then you give it another shot of salt and pepper, another bit of butter, and you're ready to go. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to do one more thing. The last thing I'm going to do, okay, so here goes the rest of the butter. The last thing I'm going to do is kind of decadent. We don't do it all the time, but probably just four or five times a week. You know, this is such an amazing snack because it is so healthy and you get all that fiber. And if you go to my website and look under For the Love of Food, you'll see it all printed out there, all the details and why this is such a healthy. There's a bunch of paragraphs as to why this is such a healthy dish. It's amazing. So okay, so here we got our perfectly spiced popcorn with our brown, nutty, sweet butter. It just smells so amazing. Here's the decadence. KD cheese, okay? Don't care about that so much. Half a pack of this. If you want to have like cheesy popcorn, then you take about half of this. And there you are. You put that on and you now have perfectly spiced. It's fluffy. And you're going to get all the fiber you need and then some. That, my friend, is the world's best popcorn.